Okay, we are recording and live.
All right, everyone, welcome to the second Policy Council meeting in December 2020. We are going to begin with, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to begin with a roll call. When your name is called, please just say present or some creative version thereof.
So I will do a quick roll call. President Anderson,
Here.
Ann Lopes,
Here.
Alan,
Here.
Ron,
Here.
Tony,
Here.
Todd,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Ken, not here. Oh, my apologies. Maria Canelli, April,
Here.
Ching,
Here.
Mark,
Which Mark?
Kobrak,
Here, yeah, okay.
Miles,
I'm going to follow President Anderson's instructions and say present.
thank you. Movina,
I'm here.
Namalinda, Prudence,
Here.
Sophia,
Here.
Maria Cantel,
Here.
Douglas Cohen, Swapna,
Here.
Jennifer,
Here.
Yedidya,
Here.
Tammy,
Here.
Flavia,
Here.
Kyle,
Here.
Samantha, David,
I'm here.
Rachel,
Here.
Ethan,
Here.
Ryan,
Here.
Amanda,
She's not coming.
Veronica,
Present.
Anthony,
Here.
Yehuda, and Aaron, sorry.
Here.
Okay,
So it sounds as if we have a quorum, more than a quorum. Thank you, Zunera. We'll begin. We've got 3 matters on the agenda for this meeting. The first, obviously, we don't yet have minutes from the last meeting that we had last week. We will present minutes for both meetings at our next gathering. The first item on the agenda is the Election Day Student Amnesty Resolution passed by the student government. I'll turn to the student government president, Ethan, for comments about this resolution.
Okay, hello everybody again. So I'm not as prepared for this resolution, but we recently passed this in USG, and it was talking about the election day and how students are basically we were calling for amnesty for students for if they were to get assignments or deadlines or even attendance for that day. So the election day is passed, obviously, but this resolution also calls for future and upcoming election days, at least the national ones. And so this resolution, even though it's like not binding by any means, it's really just calling on people who do have that power to institute this policy. So right now we're asking and calling for this body to approve it and to recommend it and push it forward. And then hopefully we'll come back with another one that actually is a little more binding, and that we could, I guess, draft as this body itself and then send it maybe to faculty council and then send it to board of trustees so it actually can be carried out in binding policy. But for right now, this resolution is just to show that you support, like, this is the students speaking, and then that shows that you support the students and what they're trying to say here. So I really hope that you can support it, and please vote yes.
Tony, do you have comments as a preliminary matter?
Sure. So there was some conversation about whether this resolution is similar to the one that we passed as Policy Council previously for Black Solidarity Day or Veterans Day. It is slightly different. This resolution is coming from the undergraduate student government, and they are asking for Policy Council's endorsement of the student resolution. The student government resolution also requests that this gets forwarded to CUNY Central and the Board of Trustees to eventually be a policy change. The Black Solidarity one and the Veterans Day document that we passed at Policy Council is different because it's local. It only is something that implicates or impacts Brooklyn College students and faculty. It doesn't go beyond that. Additionally, it's a strong recommendation from Policy Council. And so it's slightly different. I was talking to Ethan saying that the next step, we could draft a resolution within Policy Council that will look more similar to the Black Solidarity Day and the Veterans Day documents. But this would be an endorsement of the student government resolution where they're asking CUNY Central and the Board of Trustees to make a policy change. So two different approaches to this. This is going to go to CUNY Central, looks like, and the Board of Trustees.
So Ethan, is this something that you want to proceed with at this meeting, or would you rather withdraw and have another resolution come forward from Policy Council?
Well, I have a question first, and that's if the next policy that we introduce is actually going to have substantial change, like formal changes to whatever policies we have now. So like, Tony, would we go through specific policies that exist now and like edit it or revise it and then like propose those changes specifically? Or
yeah, great question. So policy changes that impact the university as a whole has to go to CUNY Central. What we can do is we can change process and we can do strong letters of support. And I know Yadidja has mentioned before that the Faculty Council will support this strongly and strongly encourage the faculty to support this. But if we want a policy change, we actually do not have the authority at the college level to make a policy change. That has to go to the Board of Trustees. They're the only ones that can make policy changes.
So let me just clarify what Tony's saying. I think he's right. We don't have the authority to make to mandate certain days off or certain days of amnesty, as it were. But that's a matter of CUNY Central's authority. However, we do have the authority and have done in a number of other instances, the ability to strongly recommend that faculty make the following decisions in their classes to provide amnesty for students who wish to vote and are late for class because they were in a line voting or for any number of other reasons. Their coursework conflicts with the need to vote on election day. So does that, is there general discussion, or do you have other comments on this, Ethan, about what you'd like to do?
right, yes. So if that means if we're not going to be able to change the Brooklyn College policy to be able to allow amnesty, then I'm not sure if this even requires a second proposal, because I mean, you're just endorsing, it's all going to be informally endorsing anyway, right? So I'm okay with what we have, because even if we get other bodies to endorse our resolution, it's not going to make a formal difference. So it's okay to just like at least have, if we have the Policy Council, the student government, and maybe even the Faculty Council all endorse and support this cause, I can then find, like, the students can find other ways to move that forward to the Board of Trustees with all of that backing. So it's just, for us, it's important at least to show, like, to see that our community backs us up on this cause, and that's good enough for us.
That's helpful. One thing I will say is that there is stuff going on in the chat, which is great, but the chat does not record in the live recording, and the chat will not be included in the minutes. So if you have something that you want to express, to get rendered in the minutes, please let us know and feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so given Ethan's decision, we're going to move to a discussion of this item. Are there folks who would like to discuss? Yadidja? Yadidja, you're muted.
Sorry. I think this is so important that we should vote on this in the affirmative today, that we strongly support it and urge all faculty to do this. And then I'll be happy to bring this to Faculty Council, informing them that Policy Council did this, and we would like the faculty to be to recognize this as well. As a separate issue, Ethan can then move it on to the Board of Trustees, where who knows, maybe they'll make it official. I have no idea what they do. I've long given up on them. But I think we here, this is really important. I make a point in all my classes telling students, what are you doing sitting here today? You better vote. If you're allowed to vote, you should be voting, not here in class. So I would vote yes right away.
David?
I got a question. To change this on a Brooklyn College level, can the Faculty Council do that alone, or does this need to go through CUNY?
Tony, you want to answer that?
Yeah, because it's talking about the number of days of class, it has to go through CUNY. And actually there's, CUNY probably has to confer with the Department of Education, because they dictate how many days of class should be in each semester. So this has a little bit larger implications, so it may take a little bit longer.
David, do you have any other remarks?
Yeah, but on that, it's not that we're changing any days of class. There's still class. It's just that there's no deadlines due that day. We're asking faculty not to enforce attendance and not to enforce that.
I can't force faculty to do anything, if you haven't figured that out by now, okay? Faculty can do what they want unless it's mandated by CUNY Central. We can't force them. We can embarrass them into doing something. We can encourage them to doing something, which I think this is very, very strong. Don't forget that making it official day off also affects holidays. Okay, and it's already very difficult, I understand, to make everybody happy, you know, and the union gets involved. You can't start classes more than a week before September, because then the union will get on your case. You can't have it on, you know, Yom Kippur or Shoshana. Then there are days that religious holiday and you're gonna get into a big mess. Leave that for CUNY Central, okay? If you want something enforced, they have to do it uniformly. But we will certainly, I think it's a good idea that we should make a very strong recommendation to faculty, to their conscience, to their civic duty, to whatever, that they do not hold students responsible for anything on that particular day. Can't force them.
Okay, so that's helpful clarification. Mobina, you're next.
Yadidja, do you think it would be better to have a faculty council resolution, or just to ask faculty council to endorse the USG resolution? So that's a question. And then a comment like religious holidays, students have that kind of, I think, they're not penalized for not attending class, right? But it's not a holiday. I don't know if that's a CUNY Central policy or how that works, but I'm guessing somewhat sorry.
New York State law.
So I'm wondering if we wanted to make a First Amendment case of it, is that the right to vote is kind of, or being able to exercise your right to vote could be kind of free speechy or something. That was the technical language there. But if that sort of falls under kind of, you know, your civic, being able to do your civic duty, responsibility or something. So I see that sort of in the short term, definitely what Yadidja was saying, that sort of encouraging faculty, and I think faculty generally would be sympathetic to that position. But if we wanted to institute it as a policy, I'm not sure we need to as such, but if we wanted to, it might be worth trying.
Thank you, Mobina. Are there any other comments?
Yes, Jennifer has a hand up.
Jennifer.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. And I'm wondering, to give it a little better legs with faculty council, you know, because of the 15 class period thing, if we can make something so that it's more widely practiced by all our faculty. If there's some sort of suggestions that we can do for asynchronous activities for that day, so you don't lose the day, it might help to get some other faculty to buy into it until it's formalized.
So I will take that as a desire to work with faculty council on that question. Before us is just the student government resolution and the endorsement, the question of whether or not this body endorses the student government resolution. So unless that's a motion to change actually we probably couldn't change the resolution. The resolution was passed by the student government. And the only question here is whether or not this body endorses that. But I appreciate the thought, Jennifer, and I think, how faculty council manages this issue and chooses to take this issue forward, if at all, is up to the faculty council leadership. Are there any other comments on the student government resolution? All right, is that your hand up?
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I would leave it if someone wants to bring a resolution to faculty council to urge them, I will obviously accept that resolution. Any member of faculty council is allowed to make a resolution. I'll even help you write it, okay? If no one steps up to the plate and brings a resolution, then I'll make the announcement saying that policy council, 100% or whatever.
Well, let's see. Let's just vote. Let's
Right.
vote first
We'll do
before
it.
we decide what we're going to do. Let's
Right.
decide what the vote is, okay? I
No,
understand
I'm
you're
saying-
strongly in favor, you did you?
Two choices. Either someone brings it as a resolution. You could do that independently, Jennifer. I would accept it. And the lack of having someone bring me a resolution, I will make the statement that policy council will vote on shortly.
Okay, so let's actually have the policy council vote on this. I understand that Zunera is prepared with a poll. David, we're going to vote.
Similar to last time, I'm going to launch a poll.
The only people that should vote are those who are members of faculty, members of policy council.
And you have to check this out.
We know you did you. We did that. We went through that movie last time.
I have to do it every time in faculty council. It still happens that people.
Of course, we will. Then I will say it every time. We will ensure that everyone who's voting is a voting member. Okay, so do you want to close this poll?
Yes, 29 out of 29 for yes.
Great.
No no's or no one abstaining.
Great. 29 is the magic number of who is here. Next up is the External Relations Committee report out. I will turn to Todd Gallitz at this point for the report out from that committee meeting.
Great, thank you very much. One item that we wanted to report out to this group about, the Policy Council Executive Committee referred to the External Relations Committee, a resolution from USG for the enhancement of department websites. That was something that USG had passed November 17th. Our External Relations Committee met last Monday, December 7th, and had a chance to review that document that had about 20 plus recommendations for various things that USG felt that is essential for students to be able to see on each academic department's website. It was a pretty comprehensive list. It included items, some of which, many of things exist on the website already, if not in the department site. I think there were a few that did not. The types of things really range from more details, faculty information, including posted office hours, course information, calendars of events that are relevant to academic departments, especially checklists that are easy to download for majors and minor requirements for departments, career information, and even alumni information and profiles that are relevant to different departments. I thought it was a very useful list and pretty comprehensive, as I said. The timing is actually opportune for us because the college is currently going through a process to to do a full redesign of the college website. So we'll be looking at just about everything. And so the committee agreed with the approach, that the approach would be right really to kind of refer this resolution and recommendations to the team that's implementing the website redesign, which is led by our Assistant Vice President for Communications and Marketing, Mara McGinnis, who attended the meeting with us also. And we'll be working with an outside firm, Ology, to implement that. They're just in the discovery process right now. So again, the timing, I think, is just about perfect for them to really see at least the items that the students have highlighted that are really essential for them to be able to easily find on the website and specific to the various departments. So I think it'll be a very useful document for us. The External Relations Committee is going to be involved in that process that we're going through. And so that'll give us a chance also to be able to circle back with progress to this committee as is relevant as well. The plan that we discussed in the committee is really to move forward with taking that to the people who are implementing the website redesign. So
Thank you,
that's the
Todd.
report that I have.
It sounds like there are no objections to the resolution and that it's perfectly timed in terms of the inquiry we're making institutionally about how best to redesign the website to serve the interests of students. So very much appreciate that resolution sent to us and the opportunity to move forward on it. Let's turn now to the third issue, the legal name versus the preferred name in CUNY First. Kyle, we'll turn to you on this matter.
Did you want me to discuss the issue?
You put this on the agenda, so you should discuss it in whatever way you feel is appropriate.
Okay. So there have been incidents, one most recently where a student was, the student's transgender and hasn't yet changed their legal name to match their chosen gender. They had reached out to a staff member about an issue with their diploma and was dead named, and then their email address and CUNY First login were changed back to their original name, whereas in CUNY First it's supposed to be your preferred name. Now when it's not the preferred name and you're involved in committees and councils and you're looking at internships outside of school and whatnot, when your email is suddenly changed to this name you don't use, it forces you then to be out, and that can be dangerous to your career. It can be dangerous to you in a lot of different ways. And CUNY policy does state that the preferred name is to be the login, and it's supposed to be on everything except the diploma and transcripts. So it's supposed to be the login, it's supposed to be the email address. So I think that we were going to have, I think Tony and Anthony and Lillian talk about it too, a little bit. Yep. About the policies.
Yeah, I appreciate that introduction, Kyle. I have brought Lillian here to give us her thoughts about this, to try to understand the policy and how we might move forward. Lillian?
Hi, everyone. It's good to see everyone. Kyle, thank you so much. I know we've had many conversations about this, and thank you for bringing this most important issue forward. And, you know, as you know, I know it goes without saying, I, you know, reinforce my deep commitment to the transgender community. And, you know, this particular issue is so close to my heart and really is something that we work to solve. And I know exactly, you know, how painful this is. One of and Alan, I'm going to ask Alan to jump in if I'm not stating the technical aspects of this correctly. One of the issues is, and it gets down to a little bit of a CUNY First issue, is CUNY First allows, in the absence of a legal name change, it permits the entry of the legal name and the preferred name. And Kyle is absolutely right. The preferred name, and CUNY policy says it, is supposed to be used on rosters, on logins, on email. What happens is CUNY First doesn't automatically default to that for the login and for the CUNY First login and the email address. If a legal name is entered into CUNY First, even if a preferred name is entered as well, what CUNY First automatically does, and again, Yadidra, excuse me, I'm not speaking computer tech here. What it does is it defaults to the legal name for the login and the email address. And what has to happen is we have to submit something called a ticket to Central to get a quick fix. In other words, what they do is they manually fix the situation. So it has to be, now I know Alan has reached out to CUNY on this to see if there's a way that this could be just automatically fixed. At this point, it's not. It has to be manually fixed. And, you know, again, we jump on these matters as quickly as we can to try to fix these issues so the student does not have to encounter these difficulties.
So one thing I want to say is I just want to assert as well with Lillian that these issues around the support of transgender students are incredibly important to Brooklyn College, to each of the leadership, each of the members of the leadership as well. And I hope that the response by Lillian and Alan expressed that to you, Kyle, when this issue came up. I do want to drill down on how this appears to be a problem with the automatic defaults that CUNY First has programmed, rather than, even though there's an allowance of a preferred name, there's not an automatic default on the preferred name. And so then we have to go in manually. Now, this is a bad idea because it puts the onus on the transgender student to have something go wrong and to be dead named, right? Before they can then get this fixed. When it's a manual process rather than an automatic process toward the preferred name over the legal name. Now, Alan, I want to turn to you and just get your thoughts on this because you worked with IT to try to fix this. We also need to go up the food chain and let CUNY Central know that there's a default challenge here and figure out if we can get a more global fix. So, Alan?
Sure. Okay, it's actually a slightly more complicated than even as Lillian explained it, but she of course got it factually correct. The one point I want to add is that we cannot fix it on campus. It has to go, which Lillian alluded to, the CRM ticket. So the challenge, at least in the case that we worked on, with Kyle over that weekend, is that it goes by the legal name, and then the legal name needs to be correct, the preferred name needs to be correct, and then when we file the ticket with the university, they work on making the change for the CUNY First ID and the email, et cetera, all the things allowable under CUNY policy to the preferred name. But the issue becomes, the legal name, as Lynn said, has to have documentation for the change. So and Lillian's team, in order to resolve the situation for a temporary solution, did change the legal name back to the preferred name because there was an immediate need. The challenge now becomes when we change this back to the name back to the legal name, there's going to be a period of time where everything's going to revert back, and we cannot tell CUNY, okay, you need to fix it instantaneously. So we've been trying to work to figure out how we could coordinate this in a manner that in this one case, the affected student does not have a period of time where it's incorrect. So we've not changed it as of yet. We also know, and I know speaking with Kyle believes there's other cases similar to this, that the legal name was changed without documentation, and we don't want to do anything extreme at this point, to cause, any kind of anguish on any of these students. But it is a university problem because the system, CUNY First does not work as per the policy.
All right, we have a couple folks. Aaron?
Yeah, so I wanted to quickly say that if we can endorse it over here, even if we don't endorse it over here, it's very possible that I can bring it up into the University Student Senate. And I have constant meetings with the CIO, Vice Chancellor Brian Cohen, and I will definitely bring this up. I believe this would be directly something that he would be taking care of. So that is something that I will do from my side.
Aaron, I really appreciate that, because I think if we worked from multiple angles, right? Alan's working from his angle, talking with Brian Cohen. You working from the University Student Senate angle is another angle. I also have talked with Lillian about facilitating name changes where students wish to have that, having that information available, where students wish to do it, if they wish to do it, figuring out if we can provide some information if that is appropriate and students ask for it on the front end. Kyle, you had your hand up?
Two things. The first was that me and the student are meeting with the CUNY-wide LGBT task force on Friday to talk about this issue, so we could hit it from that angle too. The other thing was that the LGBT Resource Committee was just talking today about how we can support these name changes, and that was something that came up, and I'm so excited to hear you suggest that, because other schools do have these programs where they assist in name changes, and it's so complex and it's so costly in New York, and that's why a lot of students haven't been able to, especially during the pandemic. So that's a great thing to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Lillian?
Yes, Kyle, President Anderson and I had a long conversation today, as she said, about the process for a legal name change and how the college can better support students that choose that option. And, you know, we're very, very excited about it. Another thing I wanted to mention sort of at the back end of this is that if there is any student who is issued a diploma in their legal name and then subsequently does a legal name change, they could just come to me, come to the registrar, and we will reissue the diploma in their preferred name. So
Which then becomes the legal name once the preferred name is
their legal name. I'm sorry, in the legal name.
Right.
But I didn't want to confuse the terminology. But I just want, that is really, that's something that students could do. I don't know if students are aware of that. So, you know, Kyle, anything you could do to let students know that would be great.
Sure, I'll put some stuff on social media for the different LGBT groups.
It sounds like we have a plan of solving this problem from multiple angles. And I'm really proud of how we've tried to tackle this and the steps that we're going to do to move this issue forward. So thank you, Kyle, for bringing this forward. Are there any other matters, any new business or old business we should attend to? All right, I really want to wish folks a restful break. Wish you happy holy days if you celebrate, and hope that 2021 is happier and healthier than 2020. Hey, and everyone, check it out. Ethan's turning 27 tomorrow. What? Happy birthday, Ethan.
Wow.
Congrats to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a good day. Take care.
Right. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Zunara?
Hey, how do I end the?
That's a no.
Okay.